My audio's working now, isn't it? Check, check, check. Check, check. Strange. Check, check. It's weird. I can hear myself. Check, check. You can't hear me? Can you hear me now? Oh, now you can hear me. All right, sweet. You guys fired up? What's up? What are you doing right now? It's been raining all day in Michigan. Pouring, freezing rain. I got quotes on Mondays. And then just in the middle doing Friday finances right now, finishing up personal taxes, going back and forth between the bookkeeper and the accountant, getting everything finalized. I hope you know that corporate taxes were actually due back on March 15th, but personal taxes are due April 15th. Insurance policies renewing. So what's up? I see Chrysler, Crooner, Austin Douglas. What up, though? Luke Hartman, Matthews Lawn Service, Anton Swift. What's up, bro? Pool cleaning company is taking off. That's awesome, man. See, it's a luxury service. I love it. Brian Fullerton just called me, left me a voicemail. Let's play it and put him on blast and see what he said. He just left me a message. Brian Fullerton. Let's see what he said, bro. I'm going to put him on blast. Dude, you know it'd be dope? I got the Roadcaster Pro. I could hook that mug up and hook it up, and then we could bring callers in on the show. Oh my God, if you could hang out with me for a couple minutes, I can get this set up. One thing fun about running an actual landscaping business and doing all this media stuff is you're constantly you're scrambling to fit it all in, because there's a lot to do, right? That's why some people like, I got 5 kids, a media business, a construction business, a real estate business, a landscaping business. Plus, I wake up at 4 a.m. and I meditate and journal and I go to the gym. And they're perfectly ripped, married, 5 businesses, 5 kids, house is perfectly clean, and ripped. You just, as soon as you get around this dude, you just feel like you're a loser. How do you do it? How? It's because I have ultimate discipline. Ultimate discipline. Pisses me off. I never make any mistakes ever. Everything I do is perfect. Born perfect. Perfect. Love it. You know what's funny, man? I was thinking about bringing back the F-bombs, but I don't know. It's so unprofessional. Fucking. All right. Right. If you can't see me, I'm trying to turn on the Roadcaster Pro because I would like to bring in live callers. I have this cool studio equipment, but I want to get it all set up. Dog shit. All right, I need a cable. 1 second. We come on this dude's live stream, and he's getting ready. But I am ready. I just want to do some cool shit, man. I'm just gonna do it next time. It'll be rude if I. But I want to bring in live callers, man. It's gonna be epic. Think about that. I could bring you in live on the show, and it'll broadcast over the YouTubes, the Facebooks, everything. It'd be dope. I'm going to start doing that. What's up, Bill Hall? Says no F-bombs unless it's free money. Kenneth Crowan, what up, Doe? Marky B. Keel Salvador. That's a cool name. Keith, what's the name of your window cleaning company? Well, I call it Kelfus Window Cleaning, but it actually doesn't even exist. It's just all under the same as my landscape business, but I market it completely separate. And I'm in the process of completely getting out of window cleaning. Well, maybe not completely. We might grandfather in a few of our best clients, but it's just too much. This year is about cutting the fat and scaling. So if you're just joining in a little bit, Joshua Latimer is going to come on and drop some knowledge bombs. So I thought I would just go live and hang out with you guys for a little bit. Literally, I just was working on my basement. You might have heard me talk about this on Instagram. We had like a partial flood last summer. We got like an inch of water in our basement. It soaked up all the wood. And that's saying an inch of water will cost $20,000 in damage. I actually share something with you. I learned about being a homeowner. So we live in Michigan. We have a basement, and basements in Michigan are known to have water issues. So I was looking through our insurance policy because it was my first time having homeowners insurance. We've always rented. And like, I don't know a lot about insurance, but I read it all because I'm always afraid that, I don't know if afraid is the right word, concerned that something could happen and we won't be covered, right? I'm always waiting for the rug to be pulled out and be like, in life to be like, I tricked you, I got you. So I'm reading through the policy and I noticed that there's no water or flood or sewer backup insurance on a homeowner's policy. And I don't even know anything about this stuff, but it seemed weird to me. So I'm the type of guy, I call up the insurance company. I call up workers' comp, general liability. I call up auto insurance, and I ask some questions like every quarter until the point where I'm annoying. What if this happens? What if this? What if this? I'm like, we don't have any flood insurance. Are we supposed to have that? And they're like, yeah. So I'm like, well, let me get started just at like some cheap flood insurance. And then I'll just like up it every year or two. And the more we grow and make more money, I'll just increase the insurance, right? You know what I'm saying? Because you could have the best insurances and pay like $8,000 a month and live in you could like live in a cardboard box and have the best insurance. Like and at the end of the year, if you don't have any claims or anything, your insurance company doesn't give you any money back. They keep all that shit. So I was like, I don't know, give me $5,000 in insurance. And then next year or two, I'll come back and I'll up it to $15,000, then 20. And as we have more to lose, then more. So anyways, I add flood insurance. And then within 3 months, I come home for lunch one day. This is like last June or May or something. And my wife runs out of the house yelling that there's water in the basement. I'm like, water in the basement? What? So I run down in the basement. I'm looking for broken pipes and shit. And all of a sudden there's water filling up in the basement. And I find out that our basement toilet backed up and overflowed, and it kept going and going and going. So like I panicked because I thought it was toxic water. Here's another thing I learned. I know this ain't about plumbing, but so I plunged the toilet real quick, and it's like all across the basement and soaking up the wood and running down into the drains. But then the drains are full. It's like destroying everything in our basement. So we're throwing down towels, and then my dogs are running in the water, and then my wife's barefoot in the water, in the sewage water, and then it's soaking up in my shoes. So I'm a total germ freak, bro. If you ever meet me in person, I'm doing fist bumps and walking around with hand sanitizers. I'm a big germ freak. And it has nothing to do with you. It's just, I don't know. I'm a germ freak. Like people go into like a public bathroom. Sorry. And like use the bathroom and then wash their hands and then grab the door handle. I don't even want to get into it, bro. So I'm a germ freak, and I start like thinking that it's sewage from all of our neighbors' sewage mixing in all over our basement floor, and now it's all over animals' feet. And I'm thinking of every disease. So like I'm scrubbing I'm like, wash your feet, and I wash my feet, and I'm pouring bleach all over my feet, and I'm bathing my dogs, and I got us all piled up in my truck, and we're gonna go get a hotel room while I'm on the phone with like emergency plumbers. And then I go back to my house and I'm all scared. And then the plumber comes down in the basement, and this dude is just like walking in the sewage water. And he's opens a drain, drains it out, snakes it, and fixes it, gets all the water out of there, and it drained very quickly. And I was like, bro, you're not scared? Like, you're literally walking in sewage water and you got it all over your hands, and I'm all standing in the corner. He's like, dude, I've been doing this 30 years. I never even been sick once. What are you talking about? I'm like, bro, you must have a high immune system. And then I started learning about plumbing, and I realized that the water that comes through your house and goes into your main drain most likely is just, it's not even connected to any of your neighbor's stuff. It just goes and dumps into a main drain that goes out to the street, that dumps into a bigger pipe, and that's where all your neighbor's stuff is mixed. So unless there's like some major catastrophic backups, chances are it's just your own toilet water. And at that point, I just totally settled down and I started freaking out. I stopped freaking out, and I didn't even care at all. I'm like, what is there, a little bit of pee in the water or something? And then I realized that it wasn't even a big deal. And then it all dried up. But unfortunately, the wood was soaked and it was just soaking up into the drywall. So we had to have a restoration company come. And I've learned a lot over the past 10 months. So the insurance company only covered $5,000. They sent me a check for $5,000. I was like, oh, this is cool. And I thought it would maybe cost us like 10 grand max to fix our basement. Bro, we're like 22,000 or 23,000 in. I got to go to Lowe's again after this live stream and go buy something else. And we're just finally now fixing our basement. I think when we're done, we'll probably be at like 25 grand. And so as we have like construction people coming and helping, and like my wife and I can do all the small stuff. We could do trim, paint. We laid all the floors ourselves. My friend William helped me lay the flooring, but we actually needed help with like the drywall and the drop ceiling just to finish off our basement and get it, because we're turning it into a work environment. So my point is, anything that you think is going to, sometimes some scary stuff, it ain't even scary at all. And anything you think is going to cost a certain amount, Murphy's Law usually costs triple and takes 3 times as long. And the reason it's taken like 10 months is because I kind of like spreading it out. Like, I didn't want to like dump $23,000 out of my pocket at once. Let me just spread this out. And so yeah, we've been working on it like here and there. I was just working on it for like 2-3 hours, and we got this nice butcher block. Anyways, I'll show you guys I'll make a whole video about it. I've been GoProing it, but the joys of home ownership, learning a lot. So make sure you have insurance, and no matter what you do, because you never know what's going to happen. And if something does happen and you get a big fat check from the insurance company, it just covers all the expenses. What's up, Carmen Knoll? Invest in a snake. Yes. So I hired this one plumber, was like $300, and he's like, well, you need this really advanced plumber to come with like the camera they stick down the drain and some high-end snake thing. And they showed me the camera that where the plumbing lines connect underneath, like out in the yard, where the hose, I don't know, where do they go? The pipes, where the pipes connect, roots from trees and stuff will get in there and start to grow. And then these roots are inside of the lines and they catch. So there's stuff that gets clogged in there. And if you ever buy a house, make sure that the first thing you do is call a plumber and have them snake out the drains and make sure all that shit is totally clean, because you will learn a very expensive lesson. And now I know it's part of yearly maintenance. We're going to get it done like at least every other year. And we're going to have a plumber come in, maybe even every year. So expensive, stupid stuff that you learn about water damage. What's Austin Douglas? Oh, thank you, sir. A remediation company, Montgomery and Sons. Good shout out. Another thing, since I'm on this, Drain Addicts on YouTube. That's so amazing. Check out Drain Addicts on YouTube. That's funny. Yes. So I've become obsessed with water. We have an 11-stage water filtration system under our kitchen sink. So we have like really clean water we drink and make coffee and feed our animals. And one little tiny hose popped out one time, and luckily we were home. It probably dumped, I don't know, a full gallon down underneath the kitchen sink, behind the kitchen wall, and all over the basement. and I was cleaning it up. That happened twice. Our one upstairs bathroom where it's called what's the pee drain, the catcher. It's a drain that looks like a U. It stops the gases from coming up. So anyways, the threads on that thing are slightly messed up, so you can't take a bath because something about the overflow drain or something, it'll just start leaking, and all of our ceiling tiles, water all over the floor and all over my computer stuff, all over my paperwork. I was creating my operating manual for my business, and half of it got soaked in the basement. So it's interesting. Think about having multiple homes or rental properties or vacation homes. And the more stuff that you own is the more that stuff can own you, right? And it's the more stuff to be responsible for, to maintain. My friend William, his tree business, he's an arborist, and he's got all this cool equipment. And I'm telling you, bro, anytime that it's raining or they're not working, he's wrenching on all the equipment and fixing it all. And I have equipment. I have two cycle stuff, and I mean chainsaws and a dump trailer and basic stuff. But he's got like a small crane and 5 times the equipment I have. And so I think about hire somebody who's very mechanically inclined and pay them extra to work on all that stuff if you don't want to. Oh, nice. You learn so much, man, owning a home. You used to want to do a lot of stuff, but now you don't. That's another thing I learned. Whenever somebody asks me to do something or I think about taking on a project that I've never done before, first thing my hands go up and I get very careful. First, everything is no until I really analyze it, and it could become a yes. Because unless you like learning hard lessons, because why would you want to do your own plumbing when it could leak, or do maybe even whatever it may be? If you suck at it and you might only do that thing a couple times in your entire life, just hire somebody who knows how to do it, and they'll do a better job than you. What's up, dog? Are you doing snow removal still? No, I quit doing snow in 2016. I did it for 15 years, and I drove myself mad doing snow. I made a video about it, but I never released it on YouTube. It was a little embarrassing. But I'll tell you why I quit doing snow succinctly and shortly. The type of snow I did was you're gone for 3, 4, 5 days and sleeping in the truck and sleeping in hotel rooms and driving city to city. Like, it was heavy duty commercial snow plowing, shopping malls, plazas, Walmarts, Kroger's, Kmart's, plowing 30, 40 hours straight, sleeping 4 or 5 hours and plowing another 20. It destroyed something inside of me after not sleeping for months on end, and then watching the entire winter go by and not getting to accomplish all the things that I promised myself I would accomplish in the summer. When the winter came, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get educated on this. I'm going to go on a vacation, spend time with my family, read these books. And you can listen to audiobooks plowing snow, which is great, phenomenal. But by the time the spring broke, 3 years in a row, and I didn't get to do anything that I promised myself I would do in the winter, I was so bitter inside. It's so upset and angry and so pissed off, because when you plow snow, you're always on call. So you might have plans to do epic shit or amazing things with your family, the snow removal business owns your life. And you could be very passionate about it for 5 or 10 or 15 years. I did snow for years. And one day, it was the nail in the coffin for me. It was when the spring was breaking. It was like 2016 or something. And it was my last chance. I had a couple weeks to accomplish some really stuff that I promised myself I would accomplish. And the spring was going to break and we were going to start landscaping. I was like, I got 2 weeks to do this thing and go into deep dive Kelfus mode. And then a huge snowstorm came, and there I was, 4 days of plowing. And by the time I caught back up on sleep, the phone is ringing off the hook and we were out landscaping all year. It caused, I don't know, a sick vindictiveness inside of me. I was done plowing snow and I was like, I'm never doing it ever again. Anybody who's been plowing snow for a decade knows exactly what I'm talking about. And that's why I didn't really want to talk about it, because it's kind of a negative thing, but it's just my experience. I also know owners who plow snow and been doing it for 20 years, and they still can't find good help in the winter, or they'll have guys that'll promise to show up left and right. They'll even pay well, very well, and they still can't get people to show up. And now they're on the hook plowing 5 days straight with pissed off customers and salting and like scared that people are going to slip and fall, and out there doing it all just on no sleep for days and days and days on end, destroying their personal life because they can't get anybody to show up. See, now I'm complaining here, but I'm not. It's a reality. It's hard when you, and that's why I think if you well, you got to pay really, really, really well. Okay, so then are you going to get the accounts? I'm going to just shut up. Some people are very passionate about snow and make a lot of money though. What was your biggest downside to starting your landscaping business? Bro, there is no downside. Oh, I guess if I had to pick one downside, the first 1 to 3 years, you don't see your family. And if you do, it's covered in dirt and sunburned and falling asleep at a restaurant table, and everybody thinking you're an asshole and a piece of shit because they don't know what it's like to start a business. And one big downside of starting a landscape business is you have to literally work like 80 hours a week in order to get the business off the ground. So you're going to have like older family members that are in their like 50s and 60s and that have already been through the years of life where it's to really take flight and make something happen. And they were like, you work too much, your whole life is going to go by, and then you're going to wake up, and what if this person dies, and you're going to regret it because you didn't spend any time with them, you piece of shit. And like, all these people, the whole world just comes against you, and you're just you're just a walking turd, and everybody hates you, and you're trying to get this business off the ground. And it's like being hung up on a cross, being shot with bow and arrows that are on fire, and you're just suffering, going through the dark night of the soul, listening to audiobooks. Sorry. That's why when I was getting my landscape business off the ground, I felt like there was some type of weird curse. I don't know what it was. This is crazy to say on the internet. So I was praying a lot. 3 times. I love my books, and I have a bookshelf, and I have all types of success books, and there's the Bible. My wife and I were up all night one night just arguing because I was never ever there, and she didn't know what I was just like working constantly, and she was like traumatized because I was never there. And we heard a weird bang or a thump in our front room of our tiny apartment. So I just like looked around the door because there was the front room. It was just, we lived in a sardine can, and the Bible somehow shot out of the bookshelf, like ejected out of the bookshelf, and was just laying on the front room carpet. I was like, how did that happen? And it happened, it happened twice. And another time I was in some coffee shop, and there was like a bookshelf, and there was like glass doors, and I closed the glass doors. I took out like a book. I don't know, there were books, you could read them at this coffee shop. And then I closed the glass doors. And as I walked away, the glass doors shot open, like they opened and swung open and thump on the ground. And there was a Bible, and the Bible shot out of the bookshelf and was laying on the floor in the coffee shop. And everybody stopped and looked at me. I was like, whoa. So I picked up the Bible and I put it back in, and I closed the doors again. And I was like, what is going? And then I was like, I should have looked to see if it was spring loaded, like if this was like some type of like trick that they play on people. But why would they do that at a coffee shop? So, and another time I'm going to this job site, and I'm driving in the Blue Goose, the piece of shit truck with the muffler hanging off. And I'm on the phone with my wife at 7:30 a.m. and like she's like yelling at me, and I'm in the Blue Goose scared that's going to break down. We got no money, eviction notice, going to do this job for no money because I didn't even know my worth. And we were driving past this bank. I mean, it was just me, right? Yeah, I didn't have any employees because I was just getting started. And I'm going to do this big mulch job by myself, and it's foggy. And I'm driving past a bank at like 7:30 in the morning, and there was this old car. Nothing's even open, but there was a car pulling into a bank, like an ATM. Nothing too abnormal. And I saw a little kitty cat running, like the Matrix. And I'm on the phone with my wife. I'm like, oh my God, there's a little kitty cat, and it just ran underneath a car that's pulling up at the ATM. She's like, oh my God, you got to go and get it. You got to save it because they're going to run it over. They're going to run it over. I'm like, okay. So I pull over in the Blue Goose and I loop around inside of this random bank. And then I see the kitty cat, and the cat runs underneath this car. And I'm like, people are like, what is Kelfis talking about? Just trust me. And I put my truck in park, and I yell, hey, stop. And I'm walking up to this like car where these people are at their ATM, at an ATM getting money. That doesn't look weird. I'm like, no, trust me. There's a cat. It just ran underneath your car. And this is for real. I'm not tripping or anything. So I'm like, don't go anywhere. I have to get it. So I lay down, and I probably freaked these people out. And I reach underneath the car, and now I'm underneath the car trying to get this little cat that jumped up inside of the car now. And these people put it in drive and hit the gas and run me over, like right over my shoulder, a full car, like boom, boom. And I'm like, ah! And then the people yell out the window, it's a dead cat now. And they take off. And then my phone is laying on the pavement. My wife is like, are you okay? Are you okay? And I pick up the phone. I'm like, honey, these people, they just ran. Let me compose myself. These people just ran me over. What do you mean they ran you over? I'm like, I don't know where the cat is. She's like, what do you mean you don't know where the cat is? I'm like, they ran you over. Yeah. They said it's a dead cat now. And I was like, so a bunch of weird stuff used to happen. And here's my point in all this. My point is, while going through the stress of getting the landscape business off the ground, I was in so much stress with debt collectors calling me and like so scared that I feel like I was actually attracting a whole bunch of negative energy and negativity. And when you see when you change the way you see things, the things you see change. So if you look at the world through the lens of fear and anxiety and paranoia, you will attract all types of like weird situations. It's like an energetic, we're spiritual beings, right? And so to me, like the pain of that, the pain of being broken in debt and the pain of poverty was so painful that I was like, I will literally do anything to get out of that. And then you go to work 80 hours a week for like the next 5 years straight and build this like a isolation energy around yourself that like one day you wake up and you have a 6-figure business and you have money in the bank and all your bills are paid and you have no debt, but you're a complete workaholic with like no real substance in your life. You've lost all your friends. You don't have any relationships. All your friends are just friends that are in the business, and it's just your close family, and everything has changed around you. And like 5 years went by like in a blur because you were just like running in survival mode. And anyway, so that's the downside of, I guess, getting a business off the ground, which maybe that's enough. My friend can take down a tree with only a handsaw. That's totally true. If you have like a really good silky and you're up in a tree, as long as it's, not any thicker than that, or a maple, except for the main cuts, you could take down a lot with just a handsaw. Stan Genetic, we're having him on soon. And a little bit Joshua Latimer's coming on. Kenneth Crowan, what up? Austin Douglas. Oh, nice. Sunset and mowing. He said the best decision we ever made was to get out of snow removal. You become dead inside. We got out as well. bro, you just straight up said you become dead inside. So anybody who knows what that means, that resonates, like those are some pretty strong words to say, bro. You go to Mexico for 2 months straight, dog. Oh, quick thing. I'll do a quick promo real quick. Jobber software. I'm an affiliate with Jobber. It's what I use in my business for like 3 years now. We run our business, do billing and invoicing, collect money automatically. You position yourself as being really professional and respectful to your customers and clients. It does follow-ups, emails, it texts them their quote they could pay online. It's just like totally professional software. And they're doing a promotion where you save 50% off your first 3 months until the end of March 31st. So today is the last day if you use my exclusive link. If you happen to be listening to this episode later than March 31st, then you still get a basic discount with my exclusive link. But today is the last day because today happens to be March 31st, this evening. So if you go to getjobber.com/Keith and you sign up, and I'm pretty sure you get the free 2-week trial, but if you just sign up right away instead of waiting for the trial, because it'll go over the 31-day mark of today, you save 50% off your first 3 months. So I don't even know. I couldn't even imagine running my business without Jobber. Just so much cool stuff. So it's a software CRM. Getjobber.com/Keith. Sign up with my link and get my exclusive discount. Brett Gardner says, a guy attacked my truck and ripped my door open. Condo association didn't protect me. I quit and owed me one more payment, and they're not paying, and my lawyer says the other way. Dang, son. That sucks. I'm sorry that happened. Lawnscapes of America. What's going on, everyone? I hope everyone has an awesome season. That's awesome. Sunset Mowing. $10 on Super Chat. See, I got to get some sound effects going that when someone leaves a Super Chat, it goes, which I do have. I'm going to hook it up soon. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Anton Swift, you put in 21 hours last snowfall. So you know, bro. A couple hunters. Hey, Keith, how do you keep growing your business when you don't have workers and can't afford them? Also, what keeps you motivated to keep going? How do you keep growing your business when you don't have workers and can't afford them? Well, employees don't cost you money, they make you money. If you're charging accordingly and you know your man-hour rate and your profit margins, and you don't really have to. I mean, we have a bookkeeper. We use Blue Sky's bookkeeping. So I get a profit and loss statement every month. I know exactly how much money is coming in, what's going out. We also do the math on every single individual job. And when I quote each job, I make sure that there's enough in this job to cover the man-hour rate, my day rate, the trucks, everything. What is my profit? And when I say profit first, I don't mean like Mike Michalowicz's book. I do my own profit first. So if I'm crunching the math on a job, whether you do 20 lawns or 120 lawns or down to the individual lawn, or you're doing little $200, $300, $400 jobs to $20,000 jobs, I'm crunching the math in many different ways. So I look at my man-hour rate, the day rate, and then I go to the gut feeling of what do I need to make off this job? Like, what is my worthiness? So if I'm going to do a job for, I don't know, we just did one, $2,175. I'm going to quote Monday. Just sold another job for like, what is it, $1,200. So I'll crunch all the math. I'll say these guys on payroll with the workers' comp and payroll and taxes and the trucks, the equipment, the materials. How much is all this going to cost? Well, I know how much it's going to cost because I've been doing this shit for ever. And so I've clocked so many jobs. I know about how long it's going to take the guys to do a job. So you say, how long is it? Here's the secret. How long will this take just me to do the job? How long will it take me to do the job if I have one worker with me or two workers with me? Or how long will it take the workers to do the job with me not being present at all? There's where you get into a tricky spot where you can start working for free. because I'm a monster. I can literally jump. I've literally had, I'll try to not open too many loops here. I had a customer call and complain because I sent a crew to do her trim all the shrubs, pull all the weeds, edge out the garden beds, and put down mulch, right? It took the 3 guys that I sent, bro, like 5 hours. And it was a couple things in the backyard, but it was mostly just the front garden beds. 5 hours. They trim the shrubs, shake them off, trim them again, because if you got to shake off all the trimmings, pull all the weeds, edge out the garden beds, go around with a wheelbarrow, clean it all up, blow everything down, rake it, get it nice and clean. Then the mulch comes in, pitchfork all the mulch in, spread it out around all the plants, nice and clean, tuck it underneath the plants, do the final details, clean up, blow it down, clean up the job site, get out of there. I mean, I think like it's about a 3.5-hour job. So if I count the time from pulling up to the job and leaving and getting all the way back to home base, it was like 6.5 hours. This job was like, I don't know what I charged them. This was only $1,000. It was $1,000 job. So at the end of the job with, time and materials and labor and everything, I only made like a few $100. And I don't have the math in front of me. But I was like, all right, whatever. That's how long it takes. So we came back the next year to do that job. And I didn't have those guys with me. It was during the lockdown period. So I literally shrank my business down to temporarily me and one other guy. I was scared. And then I grew a little bit again. And yeah, I think it was just me and one other guy for a couple months. And we were banging out jobs. So we pulled up to that same job, did everything I just told you. I'm not even bullshitting, an hour and 45 minutes. Bro, I jumped out. I grabbed the gas-powered Red Max. Next shrub. Like a nutcase, bro. All the U's, the boxwoods, everything. My guys behind me clean it all up. I shake them up. Gets it all into a nice tarp. Do the detail. We're edging out the garden bed like a monster with the garden bed edger and the shovel. Get it all the wheelbarrow cleaned up. And I already had the mulch with me. Just dump that shit. Pow! Just pitchfork all that shit into the beds real quick. Spread it all down. The shit was perfect, bro. And now we look like maniacs, but when we left, it was perfect. And it was only an hour and 45 minutes. $1,000. I sent the client an invoice. They paid. Next year, the customer calls me up and wants me to do the job again, but she has a complaint. I'm like, complaint about what? The price or the quality of work or what? And the lady says, well, last time, see, this is like a story. It's like a transformative story. She says, well, last time, the time before last time, it took your crew like 5 hours to do the job. And they did a beautiful job. But the last time you did it, I was at work, but my husband was home. And I guess he looked out the window and he said, you guys were in and out in like under 2 hours. I said, okay, so what's the what's the problem with that? She goes, well, $1,000 is a lot of money for 2 hours. And I said, well, was the quality of work less? And the lady goes, well, no, but my husband said that your crew, she didn't know I was there. She was at work. Listen very careful. She said, this pisses me off, bro, that your guys, me, buried all the trimmings underneath the mulch, that you didn't clean any of it up. You just trimmed everything, left it all in the garden beds and dumped mulch on top of it. I go, oh, really? But I say, oh, really? Did you go and separate the mulch and go look to see if there was any trimmings underneath there? No, but my husband said, so I'm like, literally, like I'm pissed off because I'm like, this husband must have just invented something, because he's like, there's no way they could have done it that fast. They must have cut corners. And my shit was beautiful. So I'm walking around the property giving the lady a quote, and I just was just staying calm and professional and nice. And I don't know. We haven't done that job again. We might do it again this year. So How do you hire employees and still make money and grow your business if you can't afford workers? Dude, it's tough because you have to learn how to quote with you not being there and somehow incentivize them because dude, you can trim one shrub or cut a lawn like so efficient and fast with so much skill, and yet you hire another guy and it takes him all day. Bro, if I could tell you some stories that you just wrap this whole business up and just flush it down the toilet, we're never going to make any money. Like, God. So uh if you have worker, if you're pricing properly, here's another thing. It's not really fair to charge your customers so much extra money because your workers, and I'm not saying my workers, I'm saying any workers, because your workers work very slow or inefficient or their process is messed up and you haven't taught them. So I don't know. So take what you pay your employees and charge the customer about triple if you pay them. And now you hiring anybody for under $20 an hour, I don't even think you're going to get anybody to come work for you for under $20 an hour if they're doing hard manual labor in the sun. And if you can't get people to show up for $15 an hour, no shit. They're coming to work every morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, working in 95-degree weather, sweating their ass off. And if they're weed whipping, they're getting rocks shot at them. And it's just hard ass work in the sun. And at the end and after taxes, because if they're on payroll, you give them their check and you're like, dude, who's going to work for that? So you got to pay them more. If you pay them $20 an hour, you got to charge 60 to 65 an hour to the customer per man hour of billable hours on the job site, right? So if you charge accordingly and you have a process and you work with the guys to make sure that they're working efficient, they have the tools that they need, the tools are sharp, there's always weed whip line, they have the gas, they have all the things that they need. And then you route things accordingly and you set the pace and tone, and you're good at marketing and advertising, you should be able to make enough money to where you're still making a healthy profit margin with you actually working with them. So either you're out selling jobs and doing marketing and advertising, collecting money, and then jumping in on the crew and working with them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days a week, or constantly you're doing it all. You're on the crew, or you're still doing some production. Because if you get completely out of the field, and you only have one crew, your profits are going to go straight down because there's only so much a truck or 2 guys or 3 guys can produce per day. And the only way to make up for that is to do higher ticket jobs that are, in the $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 range, or $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 range, where you have a crew of 3 to 5 guys working, or it could be less guys. It takes them longer, whatever. But it's like your profit margins with you out there working should be about a 50% gross profit margin if it's you and somebody else, like after all of your overhead. And maybe if you have a couple guys working, your profit margin should still be like 35% net profit in your pocket. If you're in some areas of the country where you've got really good clients, you can keep it up to 50%. I've seen people make 80% net profit if they're doing highly profitable, higher ticket jobs. But it's not uncommon for someone to have $1 million business and only make a 10 to 15% profit margin, sometimes less. Some people have $1 million business and they make like a 7 to 8% profit margin. We're talking $70,000 to $80,000 profit take home pay as the owner, because they're stuck in some weird cash flow purgatory. And yet when they were at maybe like a $500,000, they were making, taking home, I don't know, $180,000. So go get all the advice that you can and get around other entrepreneurs that are in different stages of their service business. Get a P&L statement, start looking at and analyzing the numbers and putting it on a gradient and projecting out, hey, if I keep these current clients or I raise the price, how much will I lose? How much do I need to make? How much do I need to make at the end of the year? If you need to make, I don't know, 65,000 take home, you're going to have to do this much revenue at this profit margin. I've become obsessed with these financial projections, and they've actually told me things that I knew was true inherently, like intuitively, but I didn't want to face it. Because when you start facing some of this shit and you realize, oh my God, if I don't make these changes now and get the right advice and pivot I'm going to wake up in 5 years and be in the same spot and be miserable. That's a long answer to a question like, if you can't afford employees and what motivates you to keep you going, other employees. Dude, if I didn't have any employees, there's so many mornings I would not get out of bed. I'd be so depressed that I would just, knowing that employees are showing up at a certain time, and if you don't get your ass out of bed, you're going to, first of all, look stupid and set a bad example, and they're going to be sitting on the clock waiting for you. So it's going to cost you. So employees are motivating, and other friends who are crushing it. Like your friend, I just got a 20-foot dump trailer with the big sides. That hurts my throat when I do that. Everybody here's got the friend, every week he's getting a new piece of epic equipment and posting it on Instagram, sending you pictures. Tough. I'm so tough. It's me. I'm the one. And you say, how come he's so genius and I'm so stupid? How does he have all the answers? I'm telling you, bro, you got to go to the West Side. That's where the money's at. So you go to the West Side, you run over there and try to do what your buddy's doing, and it doesn't work for you. Then you have, dude, that's a whole nother story. How do you, Alvin Chica Lawn Care says, how do you overcome seasonal depression? Yeah, your mind turns inside out in the winter, doesn't it? Let's see when Joshua Latimer is going to come on here. Oh, Joshua Latimer is a genius. Seasonal depression. You gotta. I don't know. I'm not like a therapist. Go get one, but dude, I have seasonal depression every year. This year is the best I've ever managed it, and I still had some seasonal depression. And I learned you got to go to bed at the same time every night and wake up around the same time every morning. But like me, my cutoff time is midnight. Whatever I'm doing, I know that's pretty late, but for me, I stop everything I'm doing, give my wife a kiss. Sometimes she'll hang out on the couch because we have cats, and they jump on and then she'll watch like the news, and then she'll come to bed or whatever. But no matter what I'm doing at midnight, I go to bed. And then working out and doing cardio. Have a workout regimen where you work out, hydrate, and yeah, there's 4 key components. It's diet, exercise, sleep. Excuse me. I can't even think of it right now. Diet, exercise, and sleep. Keep those balanced, and you should stay out of seasonal depression. What's up, DG? If you stay busy, you don't have the time to become depressed. What's up, Aftercare Express SVC Landscaping and Maintenance, Dowg? Bill Hall. Wow. I'm looking at all these comments. So for those of you that are still live, I appreciate you. What up, though? Throw some thumbs up or hearts in the comments. Yeah, just thumbs up, heart, heart, heart. And Joshua Latimer is going to be on here in 7 minutes. It's going to be exciting. He's going to drop the knowledge bombs. And for those of you that don't know who he is, 1 second. It's freezing in my studio, and I got the heater, and I got to get some Kleenex. All right, so Joshua Latimer, I met him in like 2015 or 2016. He was launching a company called Send Gym. They were like postcards, and that's like, it's just automated. Like if you need postcards in your business, go to Send Gym, and you can set it up, and it'll go and it'll postcard and tell your neighborhoods with like, you know, your business logo and coupons and stuff or whatever. And then you can also send your customers gourmet brownies. Like we still use it to this day. We have a cool customer that we like for any reason. I just press a button and it sends them an automatic thank you card with gourmet brownies. It's like our secret customer awesomeness. So he's launched like 7 different businesses, all successful. The guy's a genius. He has like 5 kids and he still has time to be successful. And he spoke on stages all over the country. He's hired very expensive coaches and consultants to help him in his business. The guy's a knowledge. He just oozes knowledge. I talk about him all the time. So if you don't know who he is, you will. And he drops mind bombs. So he has this way of creating proprietary language when he speaks. He talks about things in a way that challenge your beliefs about business and entrepreneurship and success and abundance, to where you go, huh? I never thought of that. He has this kind of famous thing that he created in the service, a lot more in window cleaning and pressure washing is where he's known. But now he's known all over the place. But he talks about the 5 stages of business. If you've ever heard me talk about that, I'll put a link in the below after this. You can watch this whole interview I did with him. And it's like the stage 1 is where you're just a chuck in a truck, a solo operator. It's you by yourself and you're out there hustling, wearing all the hats. Stage 2 is where you have some, a few employees helping you out in the field, but you're still doing everything. And stage 3 is where you're like totally out of the field and you have an operations manager and you also have somebody in the office, like an office manager. And between the office manager and the production manager and the employees, which are the technicians, you now just focus precisely on maybe just sales and marketing only. You're out doing quotes and marketing and managing the finances, and the rest of the business is taken care of. The production, and then stage 4 is like you're completely out of the business. You have office manager, production manager, you have crew leaders out in the field working, technicians working, and you also have sales guys, people out doing sales. And you get all that all wrapped up, and all you're doing is maybe some marketing and innovation and looking at financial statements. I guess if there's a stage 5, to the best of my knowledge and ability, is you're a true absentee owner. You're not there whatsoever at all. You've already hired a CEO and or CFO in place, and the business is in complete automation mode. I think in my business, I've hit stage 2.5, they call it. It's where, aside from doing sales and marketing and dealing with customers and being trapped in administrative hell, I have someone answering the phones and doing all the scheduling. I have a technicians. A crew out working. They're doing all the production and all the work. So I just show up maybe a couple of hours a week in the field. And besides for that, I'm running the business, but I'm not like doing all the work. And I think that's, for me, I thought that would be like the coolest thing ever. And it would free up my time. But then I felt like I was going insane because I love doing the work so much and I love working out, and that I can't stand being trapped in a truck and talking to customers and doing quotes and all day. I like doing the work to mix it up. But what happens is when you have more people working for you, even if you just have like 3 or 4 employees, they eat up the work so fast that you don't have time to do the work, because then your job is to keep the schedule full. That's your whole new job, is to keep the schedule full for them and now you're just selling and booking time so that there's enough on top of profit margin for you to scoop off the top so you can pay yourself an owner's salary and then have distributions hopefully at the end of the year where you can still make, you're probably going to make less money than you did out working in the field, because when you're working in the field doing the production, you're not only leading from the front, but you're a monster and you're getting so much work done. You're not only paying yourself owner's distributions, but you're also paying yourself a technician salary of your 25 or 28 bucks an hour, whatever it is. And so you're doubling up. You're getting paid as a technician as well. So when you grow the business a little bit, the only way to close that gap that Joshua Latimer talks about is you have to run like hell. Oh, he's coming in right now. And you got to grow the business quickly so you can get your money back, so you can still afford to. Is he here? He's in the chat room. He's waiting. I've just added him. Let me check him on Voxer. He is in, I think, Cancun or something.
What's up, sucker? Can you hear me?
Oh, here he is. Let me get some audio. Add to stream. Joshua Latimer.
What's up,
can't
sucker?
Hear you. Let me see what's going on. Checking audio. Check.
Check. Testing. I hear you good. My mic is working.
Hello.
In StreamYard. It's
Josh is here. Everybody. I don't know why I can't hear you.
Can't hear me?
It might be me. 1 second.
Okay. Check. Testing.
Check.
Check. Keith Kalfas. Milwaukee Tools. Cobalt.
Josh.
Hello.
So weird.
Hello. So Austin said he can hear both of us. So I feel like your headphones can't hear me, but
we go to these settings. Hello. I can see you. I can see and hear myself, but the only thing is I can't hear you. 1 second, guys.
Xcaret, that's right. Austin Douglas, what's up, my man? Señor Latimer. Yo hablo un poquito español.
How odd is that? Maybe if you leave and come back in, I don't know.
All right, I'll try to leave. I think, can you guys hear me? I can see your comments here in this StreamYard thing.
Can you guys hear? Oh, we hear both of you?
Yeah.
They can hear.
I'll leave and come back.
Him.
I'll leave and come back.
This is craziness. 1 second. Let me see if I can try something else here. He left. He's coming back in, though. You can hear both? How can you hear him, but I can't hear him? It's weird. You can hear him, but I can't hear him. He's about to come back in. I can hear the Slay Like David hat guy, says Patrick Squires. Corey Williams. Carmen. Oh, you guys rock. This will be worth it. All right, here he is. He's coming back. Hello.
Check. Can you hear me?
So they can hear you, but let me try something.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello. Ooh. Can you hear me?
This is strange. Well, if I can't hear you, I guess it doesn't work too well. Let me try something else. Check.
Oh, this is such a bummer.
Josh. Hello.
What's up, Bill?
Hello,
what's up, Corey? What's up, Carmen? R. Burnside, the squeegee puller, loud and clear.
Hello.
Until Keith tells me what he wants to talk about.
Check. Still there? You can hear me?
I can hear you.
Just let Josh talk. I mean, I could just sit here. I mean, we've been going live every day, like 5 days a week, and it works every single time. And I've never had this specific issue. So I guess I'll ask you a question and I'll just let you talk. Cool.
Can you? Okay. Hold
That'll work.
I'm going to chat you. Keith, private chat. So someone just texted me. Who was that? William.
Oh, he's going to chat.
Plug your headphones box into your computer. Will that work? It's actually for my studio guy. I don't even know how he knows that I'm on here right now. That's hilarious.
I got a crazy idea.
Sorry, everybody. Austin said, Yo también me encanto Xcaret. Yeah, I lived in Costa Rica for almost 2 years, so I learned a little bit of gringo Spanish, but I've lost a lot of it because it's been years that we've been back. But when I go to Mexican restaurants in Michigan, I live in Texas now, but I drive people crazy trying to practice, Say, hola, ¿cómo estás, amigo y amigas? Dios la bendiga, amigo. But yeah. Come on, Keith. I believe in you. Let's talk about how epic life is. You have multiple stage 5 businesses. You're kicking it in the best resort of all of Mexico. Well, I hadn't really
There
heard
you
this,
go.
but it is pretty awesome. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, let's do that.
Let's go like this.
All right, problem solved.
I removed myself from the
There
chat.
we go. Awesome.
Oh, there we go. Problem solved. All right, here we are. What's up?
Hey, I'm just living my best life now, like Joel Osteen says, I guess. I don't know.
How are you? Where are you, Josh?
I'm at a mastermind event in Cancun. We got here on Monday. My wife's here too, but she's out peopling right now. I've actually been working in my hotel room the whole day because I'm lame like that. But it's awesome. It's beautiful. It's hot. It's Xcaret, Mexico. There's like grottos and caves and little blue river lagoons everywhere. We're going to swim with dolphins tomorrow morning. That's going to be awesome. But it's with Russell Brunson and Myron Golden and Garrett White and all these fancy cool people.
You're with Garrett White?
He's here. Yeah. I don't know Garrett personally, but there's a lot of people here. There's a few hundred people here that are all different from all over the place, all part of Russell's and ClickFunnels kind of coaching and mastermind programs. So it's pretty crazy. Did I lose you again? Oh no. All right,
we're back.
We're back. Okay. Could you hear me?
I'm just trying to set my phone down and it shut off because I can't hold it for an hour. All right, here we go.
All right. So it's it's crazy. Maybe this is a cool thing to kick it off with, but there's people doing things with business here that will break your brain. And if it's okay, if I have permission to break people's brain,
break it.
Because here's the thing with people always ask me, they're like, Josh, if your service business was so great, why'd you sell it? That's what it's a common question. And I sold my service company almost 10 years ago. So it's been a while. But the answer to that question is really, really simple. I sold it because it's not the greatest business model in the world. It's just not. It's a perfect training wheels business. It's a perfect starter business. And if you have a Tommy Mello personality type and you're going to build $1 billion empire with it, then freaking good for you. Go for it. But for a lot of people, the service business is where they learn business. They learn how to read a P&L and what cost of goods are. And they learn how to hire people and fire people. And they learn how to get stabbed in the back by employees and how to get stabbed in the front by employees. And they learn all the things. But what you'll also learn as you eventually have success with your service company is that it's not the greatest business model ever. I'm not disparaging it. It's just not. So if you notice, a lot of the leaders in these industries, they sell their company. They either get into like the information business, they get into the software business, or they get in a different, better gross margin type of business. Because if you're doing $2 or $3 million a year as a service company, and you might keep 10% of that in your pocket if you're still in growth mode. You can make more than that. You can make 20%. Some companies have a 25% net. But I know the real truth because I've worked with over 1,000 business owners. Most of the owners are making 10, 15%. The rest is going into fixing equipment, more marketing for more growth the next year. And it's just not as rewarding as other business models could be. And now that you know the game of business, you can apply your same skill sets to a higher leveraged vehicle. And it's still not easy, right? Like I almost went bankrupt starting my software company. It was the hardest thing I ever did, but that is a better business model because if I sell that someday, the multiple I'm going to get on it will be 4 times or 5 times more than what I got with my service company. It's kind of like, think of your business or your business model as like a bicycle. Riding a bike is way better than walking. Right? So like if you have a job, that's like walking. And if you have a service company, you're riding a bike and you can go 30 miles an hour on a bike, which is amazing. But, software company is like a car, right? Or getting into the information business. A lot of people are learning how to get into the information business, not being like a guru coach. I mean, we don't need more 22-year-old life coaches or anything. I think we're good. We don't need a bunch of those. But people have expertise with different things. Like I have friends that have a funnel where they teach people how to decorate cookies better. And this lady who has this funnel, they did over $1 million their first 14 months. Her husband's my accountant. This couple we had dinner with 2 nights ago here in Mexico, They're 28 years old and they've done $36 million helping hair salons grow their business faster. Okay. Real numbers, $36 million. My friend Krista Mayshore, who's here, she helps real estate agents just succeed better because she's really amazing. As she sells over 100 homes a year and has for over 20 years. And so she built a program, again, a different model than just getting commission from real estate, a more leveraged vehicle. And she hasn't done less than $1 million a month with that information business in 27 consecutive months. And I can go on and on and on with weird examples. I mean, there's a lady here who's doing 10 to 20,000 a month because she teaches people air fryer techniques. Like, she's on YouTube. She teaches them like recipes and different cool things to do with their air fryer. She's making 6 figures from that. And so if your service company is, really hard and you're struggling, I don't want to discourage you from finishing it for a couple of reasons. Number one, you need to like close the loop on it, meaning don't just shut it down and chase shiny objects, because you'll wind up failing at the next thing too, because all of it's hard. But if you can get over the hump, get to like maybe 600,000 to 800,000 in revenue at least, or if you get up to $1 million and you have a team and it's like sort of automated and you kind of did it, then I would encourage you, if it fits your personality type, where you want location independence, you want more profit with less time, you want more leverage, you want to get off the bicycle and get into a car. There's so many weird things you can do outside of the service business. So that's the truth. No one likes to talk about it. I've been talking about it more because it's the truth. And, but again, not to detract from it, because you still need to learn how to do hard things and push through. So I don't know. What are you thinking as I say all that, Keith?
When you talk, it feels like my dopamine receptors and my serotonin glands are shooting like a fire hose. And it's like, it feels like, I don't mean to sound weird, like in a weird way, but it's like physical ecstasy. That's why I call it mind bombs. Like, there is no $1 billion yacht or crazy shit. There's something about when you talk about this shit and the way you talk about it, it's like, I'm going too far with this, bro.
Well, the comments stopped, so I thought maybe everybody like fell asleep or got mad at me or something. But I can see the comments, at least the ones that are in the StreamYard.
Austin Douglas Stitcher, he says, "Wash my brain," because he's
Corey wants to get out of the service business. Brian Haggerty's at a 40% net. That's right, Brian is. Brian is just killing it. It's just very rare. It's uncommon. When I met Brian Haggerty, he was doing about 300,000 a year in revenue, and really struggling, and he has built a beast of an empire since then, and absolutely killing it.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, I'm gonna hide the comments for a minute.
Yeah, keep commenting. New comments, encouragement here to tell me what you want to talk about. Anything I can do to add value at all. I mean, this is not
everything that you just said was straight value. Because what you do is you talk about the possibility type stuff. Like we get so entrenched when we do something over and over and over, day after day. That's the only way. We have to make it's like using an old can opener that's a pain in the ass and it keeps popping off the can. And like,
right.
But you're like, no, there's this totally new improved can opener. You just press the button and walk away, and it automates the whole damn thing, and you can open 50 cans at once while you're doing something else.
Right before I hopped on this call, I was talking to a friend of mine who I won't say her name because I don't know if she would want me to share it, but she makes over $1 million a year net, and she works from her home office. Okay. And she originally had a service business. I just don't think people understand the leverage of it. I got a question. Can I answer Wash Life TV's question?
Yeah.
Okay. What's typical EBITDA and an exit of a company that does 1.5? I think clarify Wash Life TV if you could. Are you asking what the multiple is on your exit, or are you asking what the goal EBITDA should be on a company doing that? So I'll answer both of them until you type in to clarify. But if you're doing 1.5 million, I'm assuming you have a pressure cleaning company because of your logo. So your target EBITDA should be 20 to 25%. And here's what that means. When you're doing 500,000, you got to be charging way more than you think you should, because A $1.5 million business maybe has health benefits and it has other perks for employees that the little business doesn't have yet. So you want your pricing to actually reflect the future version of your company. You ever heard the quote, act your age? When it comes to revenue, you want to act above your age. So behave like $1 million company when you're doing 300,000 in terms of the pricing and the systems and the way you lead people. I remember with my cleaning company, we had our first annual Christmas party when I had one employee and I took him to a steakhouse with me and my wife and him, and his face turned red because he was so embarrassed because I gave out awards for the year, but he won every award but I was doing that because I could see this bigger vision, right? And I'm like, I'm not going to be too embarrassed to not do this. I'm doing a freaking awards ceremony for my one guy because sometime we're going to have 30 guys, right? So in terms of, so the multiplier, he wants to know, your multiple is actually getting bigger and bigger right now. Let me give you some good news for all the service businesses. So Wash Life is asking, what multiple can he sell his 1.5 pressure cleaning company for? The true answer is whatever someone's willing to pay for it, but that's a cop-out answer. The average is 3 to 5, 5 being on the high side, okay? So if you have a 20% net, we'll do some math here. That means you're netting $300,000 a year, right? So you should be able to sell your business for $900,000 up to $1.5 million, depending on the buyer and depending on how clean and streamlined you are, and depending on how much more growth there is in your market. Probably a private equity company would buy your business, and one of the first things they're going to look at is they're going to figure out what your max business size can be based on the zip codes that you service. So they're figuring out you're doing 1.5, but you could do 6.2. But they kind of are going to know that it's going to taper off at 6.2. And then the only way to grow is to have satellite locations and more zip codes and that kind of thing. So if you're in a really juicy market where there's lots of growth to happen, you have an incredibly good leadership team in place that will stay with the company. That's how you get multiples of 4 and 5. And it could be even more. It could be because a lot of people want to buy all of your all's companies right now. There's more action happening on business acquisitions than I've ever seen ever. And private equity and Wall Street money is literally moving to Main Street and buying service companies like crazy, like big time. I could talk about this for 2 hours. It's a big opportunity. Another thing you can do though, is you can do what's called a roll up. So if you're already doing $1 million, he typed a bunch of stuff here. We're doing 1.5 to 1.7, net margins 20-25%. Perfect. That's what I had suggested it be. That's great. Okay. So another thing you could do if you want to make more money on the exit is roll up more companies into your company. So imagine this. Imagine there's a $1 million business that does 100,000 in profit. Okay. And that would only be worth 200 or 300 grand, a multiple of 2 or 3, because it's not that big, not that much profit. Okay. But if I bought 9 additional companies that all did $1 million with 100,000 profit, then what I would have is I'd roll up all 10 into a new company. We'll call it Newco. So Newco does 10 million in revenue with 1 million in profit. But here's what's really crazy is you would think the multiple would be 2 or 3, right? Because one of those businesses is only worth 200 or 300,000. So if I have 10 of them, it should be worth 2 or 3 million, right? Well, no, because when you hit 7 figures in profit, the multiples change. Really, just the more EBITDA you have, the more it can change. But a good benchmark is 1 to 2 million. 2 million is better, but $1 million in profit, you could sell that for like 8 million. Okay, so if you bought 9 other companies just like yours, and you didn't even grow them, you could create like $5 million in enterprise value just by mushing them together so that you have a super company with bigger numbers. That's a little advanced and nerdy, but it's pretty awesome. A lot of people are starting to do this now. They're starting to learn how to do these things. Was that too deep and nerdy? What do you think?
No, I love it.
Okay.
It's probably over some people's heads, but I love it. Sorry, that doesn't help.
A couple hunters. I have a service business, keep getting people saying my prices are too high. The more I keep hearing that, the more I question my own price. How do you deal with that when growing your business? I'm curious how long you've been in business, what services you offer, what your price point is. But I will tell you this, price objections are a derivative of expectation, meaning if people have in their brain the idea of what you're supposed to cost, and then your price breaks that frame. So if they get 3 quotes and first guy's $800, the next guy's $700, and you're $1,500, the reason they go, they freak out is because of that they are anchored to an $800-900 price, and then you broke their frame. You broke their frame of reference, right? So here's the thing: we need to justify higher prices. There's all kinds of stuff we can all do and should do. Part of it is anchoring people to higher prices. Part of it is controlling the frame through your sales process. So let me just ask you this in my example. If you have the $800 bid, the $700 bid, you know that you're going to be $1,500, okay? But part of your phone scripts on the phone is making it clear up front that you're a premium, top shelf, white glove, luxury service provider. You're the BMW of the thing which you do. You're not a good fit for everybody, but we'd be happy to have John, our sales manager, drop off a full detailed pricing estimate tomorrow morning. Mrs. Jones, if you have any questions at all, let me know. He's going to be driving this type of vehicle. He's uniformed. He has an iPad, and you have my direct line to call. If the way it feels in the phone when they even get the estimate is so different than the other two, that's like kind of step one. We want to create separation. They answered in 4 rings. You answered in 1 ring. They said, what's your address? Yeah, I can drop it off. They write their price on the back of a business card. You have a choreographed, choir-directed experience.
Sorry, man. I just imagine guys showing up in tuxedos and the lawnmowers are on dubs, and they're like...
It's perception, and it's framing, and it's anchoring. Those are the words you want to learn. You can go on YouTube and learn about these things. But
I used to get so pissed when you would say that stuff. I'm like, what are we going to do? Show up in fucking tuxedos and cut their grass? They don't care.
No, you don't have to
So
do that.
So at what percentage? See, I'm getting I'm getting triggered right now because I was like, but you're saying all up from the initial, because you got to keep them how you got them, the initial customers that they've been paying this much forever. You just all of a sudden come in with this new high price for no reason. Of course.
No, I mean, maybe, but that's a different scenario, right? So they think you're the cheap discount bill guy. That's hard. Because how you get them is how you got to keep them. So if you get them because you're the cheapest, you got to keep them by continuing to be the cheapest. Like Walmart can't just triple their prices and succeed. Walmart is super cheap. They only run on 1.5% margins. Did you know that? They make a % profit. But anyway, if people know or feel like you're premium, what you want, like the ideal scenario is you want them to be scared of your price and then be pleasantly surprised you're only $300 more than the other guy. You want them to think you're going to be even more, right? And so that, look, not everybody's going to buy that. It's completely fine that they don't. But the choreography and the systems of the way you engage, the way you look and smell, the way the script comes out of your mouth, there's so much to this, Keith. Like when you give people prices for all of your stuff, and I'm asking everybody in the chat right now watching this, do you make it a point to scribble off and scratch over the price of all the services that the people don't need? Because if you do that one tiny thing, it's an act of choreography. So if you give them 8 prices for different packages and a la carte services, and when you present it to them, you don't just say, here you go, Ms. Smith, let us know. We're here to help. No. You get permission. You walk around the house. You pet their dog. You build rapport. You want to spend as many minutes there as you can. When you present the pricing sheet to them, like write down the price for the gutter whitening package, but let's say they don't need it. You still write down the price, and then you scratch it out right in front of them. You say, honestly, can I take my salesman hat off for a second? These 3 things you don't even need. I recorded the price so we have it in the future in our computer. Like if in a couple of years you want it, don't even worry about that. Now, personally, I like this one or this one. It's ultimately up to you. The difference is this, this, and this, and this. What questions do you have for me, right? So there's these little things that can be done that totally change the outcome. Because if you're getting price guarantee objection or price objections, do you believe in your heart that if I came and did it, that the same exact thing would happen to me? Or if I airdropped Alex Hormozy into your market and I let him sell your stuff, like, would that still happen to him? Sometimes it would, but what that tells you is like the needle can be moved through process and through choreography, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like if I airdrop Tommy Mello to go do the next 10 bids for that guy, would he have the same close rate, or would he probably do better? Well, he'd probably do better, not because he's a more valuable.
You know what? I should have had Tommy Mello on yesterday. We had a great guest on yesterday, but I was going to have Tommy Mello on yesterday, and you're talking about Tommy Mello so much here that if I had him on yesterday, everybody would know. But he's going to be on Monday or Tuesday.
Cool.
So that will all make sense, everything that he's saying, for those of you who don't know who Tommy Mello is. But he's like a $200 million garage door company. The guy lives in total abundance, and he's the visionary of his business, and they have very high prices, and his employees are all paid well, and they have benefits and everything. So when he says Tommy Mello, like literally, that's it. Where is it? There it is. Did you get that yet?
I did not yet, but I am aware of it. Yes.
Gosh. Yeah, but anyways.
Tommy will be a billionaire probably within a couple of years. He's awesome. He's super smart. So I see Carmen said in this area, if you don't beat others' prices, you usually lose the job. I wish I had a personal relationship with Carmen, because I don't want to just dismiss all the truth of what you're saying, Carmen, but it's just I just disagree for a whole bunch of reasons. Now, how to fix it? Yeah, it's not magical unicorn fairy dust, but it has to do with who people think you are when they get the price, then the way that the price and the value is uncovered to them, the systems and the follow-up, the urgency, the scarcity, the psychology. There's lots of things that can be done to improve it. And yes, there's variances in markets, 100% that's true, but people falsely believe that that's like the thing. Oh, my market's different, Josh. No, it's not. It could be a little bit different. There can be seasonality differences. There can be, for example, you can live in a military town that's more transient. And so there's less homeowners and more renters. There's certain things that are true, but it's really a mentality and a mindset. And if you think that you just you have to be the cheapest, well, that you're literally destined to just struggle, and it's going to be harder for you. If you believe it's true, even if it's not true, that's kind of a wrap. That's it, because then now you're not trying to solve the problem because you think it's unsolvable.
I love it.
Yeah, and price is relative to value, and people don't understand. Here's another tip if you want another tip. When you explain to people what you do, don't just tell them the name of the service. Stop selling services and start selling stacks. You need to stack your value. So if you do a house wash for someone, and you say house wash this much, that's not good. Instead, you say with the luxury house wash bundle, the first thing you get is this, and you uncover and explain and articulate that first component of what they get, which creates kind of value just for that one piece. So for example, when you wash a house, the first thing a lot of companies do is they tape off all the electrical outlets. They pre-wash and water down all the plants. So when they spray the chemical in the house, it doesn't kill the flowers and the bushes, right? Well, but they don't explain these things to the customers oftentimes. And what you got to do is you carefully unpack each component of what you're already doing. And so if you cover the electrical outlets, you can say, we're the only company in the Southeast Valley that uses the PPP guarantee. It's a personal property protection guarantee, because we tape off all the electric outlets and we pre-water all your plant. Yes, it costs us more money. Yes, it takes us more time, but it's the only acceptable professional way to do business in our opinion. And I would run if anybody else doesn't have a guarantee similar. That's the first thing that you get with this package. The second thing you get, right, is this, and then you get this, and you're just explaining what you're already doing more powerfully. And it creates this expectation of a higher price, so that hopefully they're pleasantly surprised you're only $300 or $400 more than the other people or whatever. That's the idea.
We need to talk it.
It'll make your competitors hate your guts when you do this, because they're all watering the plants too, but they don't have the personal property protection guarantee. They don't have the storytelling down. They don't have the choreography down. And you name it something proprietary. You proprietize it, call it something, make it an acronym, use alliteration, be creative with it, because it creates all this value. And half the people you're competing with are writing a price on a business card, shoving it in their door. What are you talking about? You think you're supposed to lower your price lower than that guy? You see, people, when you sell like I'm describing, all of your competitors, yeah, they're going to lower their price because they're going to start losing all the jobs. And they think in their brain that the answer is to lower their price. And the exact opposite is what they should do. They should raise their price and increase the sophistication of their process so that it flows better. So they smell a little bit less like nicotine and like bad decisions. These guys wear wife beaters and they go out. It's crazyville. Like if you just actually show up on time, move really fast. Like Brian Hegarty's company, they're doing 300,000-400,000 a month with huge profits. They're fast. Like one of their competitive advantages is speed. Speed by itself justifies higher prices. Little companies wear it as a badge of honor to say, I'm booked out 6 weeks. That's not a good thing. Okay. It means you're losing tons of money. But anyway, so Brian is twice the price, but he can service people the next day in a lot of cases. No one else can do that because it's hard. It's really hard to be able to do that. It's complicated, but his prices are boom. But he answers the phone. The process is perfect. The crew is trained. The crew is paid a ton of money. His guys make bank. They all take 3 months off in the winter and go skiing for 2.5 months and go deep sea fishing in Florida for 2 months. But it's all works because of the high prices. Like the high prices isn't about you being greedy. It's about you being able to build a real company that has real careers where it's more sellable. It protects you. It feeds everything else. Makes it easier. It makes marketing not as scary. It makes everything more.
What about the people who are listening and say, but I don't want to do all that. I just want to make a whole bunch of money.
Yeah. Well, sometimes when I speak or if I do a workshop, sometimes I'll ask the crowd, raise your hand if you want $1 million, and they'll kind of not want to play along. So I say, no, pretend what I'm about to say is real. Play in the world of crazy ideas with me for 3 minutes. Can you give me 3 minutes? If you'll give me 3 minutes, say, I will. Okay, cool. So pretend I have a magic button. And if I push the magic button, $1 million, 1,000,000,000 is wired into your personal checking account. I pay the taxes on it. You get the whole million. It'll happen as soon as I push this button. If your hand is not in the air by the time I hit this magical button, you do not get it. If your hand's not in the air, you don't get it. Who wants it? Who wants to put your hand up if you want it? And the whole room puts their hands up because they want it, right? And then I say, keep your hands up if you have $1 million in your checking account. And they all go down. And it's not to like shame people or something. It's to make this point. This is the point. Desire alone is almost worthless. Like wanting to have lots of money doesn't mean anything. Everybody wants that. You got to stop trying to get money to make a lot of money. That's a whole mind bomb. Like poor people chase money. Right? Tommy Mello has never chased money. He is chasing a vision. He's building a machine. He is obsessed with his teams. He is literally, authentically obsessed with helping them get ahead with it. You know how many millionaires he's created? You should ask him. I don't know the number. He's created a bunch of millionaires already that are employees of his that have helped him do all the roll-ups and the acquisitions and all the things. He's killing it. And so he's helping everyone around them succeed. He's helping his customers have the absolute top shelf best experience ever. And yeah, he's filthy rich because of it. So what? That's what happens when you help lots of people. Like money is the byproduct of being a value creator in the marketplace for your customers, for your employees. Money happens automatically when you're a person of value, of enthusiasm. Alex Hormozy says that sales is just an enthusiasm transplant. That's what it is. It's the vibe. They can feel if you're real. They can feel if you're chasing the money. Poor people want money, 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 money. They buy scratch-off lottery tickets. One time when I used to repossess cars as a 19-year-old as a side hustle, I saw a person in Detroit get $2 worth of gas and buy $18 worth of lottery tickets. And my heart broke for that person, even as a 19-year-old idiot that didn't know anything, because that's like their way out. That's how they think they're going to get free, is doing that. And business owners have a sense of entitlement a lot of times. They think that they're just supposed to, like, because they did hard work, that they get money. Well, people that dig ditches do hard work. They don't make any money, right? Like hard work doesn't correlate with money either. It's necessary for success, but it's not the determining factor of lots of money. Isn't that interesting? So
talk about the correlation and the equation of effort and money and that misperception. That was huge to me when you taught me that.
Well, like, I think instead of trying to get money, there's 4 things you should try to obsess of getting instead of money that automatically give you money. So if you get these 4 things, money will happen to you. This isn't like woo-woo Tony Robbins.
Let me get
cheesy-
my pen. Don't be.
Sure.
All right, give us the 4 things.
Sure. First one is confidence. Confidence is what's known as a success derivative. And derivative is just a fancy word like sawdust. Think of sawdust. Sawdust is a derivative of cutting wood, right? Sawdust like automatically happens when you cut wood. So instead of saying, how do I get sawdust? If you didn't even think about how to get sawdust, but instead you just cut wood all day, you'd wind up with lots of sawdust, right? You'd have bountiful amounts of sawdust if you just sawed the log, sawed the board, boom, 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 over and over and over and over. So getting confidence yields money. Confidence means to trust yourself. If you do a word study on the word confidence, it comes from the root word confide, right? Confide means to trust yourself. The problem with trusting ourselves, including me, by the way, I'm not immune to any of this. I have massive debilitating shortcomings all over the place. Massive. I'm just a passionate person, but I am like an abject failure, all kinds of things. We can talk about that next if you want. But the goal is to be confident, not to get money. If you honor the word you give to yourself, it's really hard to fail in the long run. You know, if you notice high achieving people, including Tommy, including, Brandon Vaughn, these people walk with an abnormal level of certainty and confidence. Would you agree? They have this magnetism about them, and they all have different personality types. But the one thing they do is they know how to trust themselves. The only way you can actually trust yourself is to stop lying to yourself. That's why I'm not a fan of affirmations. I think standing in front of the mirror and saying, I am skinny, I am smart, I am rich, that's literally lying to yourself if you're fat and broke, okay? You don't need to do that. You need to actually go walk on a treadmill for 180 days in a row. You need to not do that irresponsible expense, even though you normally would. And after doing that a few times, you start layering and stacking confidence for yourself. Alex Hormozy says the best way to be successful is to have a pile of irrefutable proof that you are who you say you are. You want to have a stack of irrefutable proof that you are who you say are. Tommy Mello, it's not a game. He's not tricking people. He really is going to be a billionaire that started with nothing. He really did do impossibly hard things for many years in a row, actually equipping his team day after day after day after day after day for tons of time. And no one knew who he was when he was doing it. And no one knew who he was when he was going to run out of cash flow and he had to do this thing. No one was with him when he was being crushed, but he was building his confidence. He was stacking proof, stacking proof, stacking proof. And so the goal is to become a confident person, not arrogant, confident. But to low-level people, arrogance and confidence looks familiar. Looks similar. They look like cousins. They're very different things, but they seem similar to the untrained eye, right? When you're around high-achieving people, they can be the sweetest, most kind, generous people ever, but they have a sense of certainty. And when you start talking about their domain, they drop Thor's hammer with like authority when they're talking about it. And they just have this because it was built over a decade, right? So first C, these all start with a C, is confidence. Don't get money, get confidence. The second one is consistency. And no one wants to hear this, of course, by the way. Half the people are going to click off because it sucks to hear the truth sometimes. But you don't need to get money. You need to be consistent. How many people watching this would have more money if they're more consistent with marketing, or if they're more consistent with their team meetings and leadership, pouring into their staff? If you were more consistent with your fitness, would you be healthier or not? Well, it's like, duh, because the health automatically happens through consistency with working out. Money automatically happens by being consistently doing the right things that move the needle in your business. The goal isn't to get money, it's to be a consistent person. It doesn't mean perfect, but it means consistent. It means on average, you're showing up, you're doing what you're going to say. And by the way, being consistent builds your confidence, right? Right. So it's like, in a way, you don't even have to try to be confident. Just be consistent. You get confidence and you get money. Consistency is hard. I have a friend named Ray Higdon. Ray, he has made a Facebook Live video every single day for 11 years in a row. Did you know that? He's never missed one day. Ray also has a little Facebook group called Walking with Ray, Faith with Ray, because he got radically saved and he talks about Jesus all the time. It's amazing. But in his business group, he has like 12,000 people in this business group. They all pay like $20 a month to be in his group. I mean, he makes hundreds of thousands just from that one little thing, right? But the level of consistency the guy's had, he deserves to have this result. It's logical, actually, right? Because he's so good at what he does because he has so much volume of reps under his belt. And the time horizon and consistency is so strong. And what sucks about hearing this is you're like, oh, great. That means I have to wait 10 years to blah, blah. No, you don't. Like, powerful things happen in 30 days. Powerful things happen in 3 months. Powerful things happen in 1 year. Tony Robbins says we overestimate what we can do in a year. We underestimate what we can do in a decade. So like, consistency is going to stack and it will build a life for you can't possibly comprehend. But stop trying to get money. Start being more consistent. If you can't close sales and you're always the cheapest, be consistent at learning the game of sales. Read every day about sales. Actually implement and try and iterate and do it bad. This morning I watched a video and this guy said anything worth doing is worth doing poorly. Anything good that's worth doing is worth doing poorly, so you can eventually do it well. And so if you suck at sales and you suck at systems and you don't understand the math of business, hello, I had a 2.6 GPA. I hated school. I don't like any of this stuff. It's all learnable skills, all of it. You do not have to be smart. You do not have to be a genius. In fact, the smarter you are, the harder it is for you, to be honest, because you're so aware of your own inadequacies that you tend to overthink and procrastinate more than dumber people, to be totally honest. Okay, so confidence, consistency. The next one you need clarity. You need to figure out, like, what game are you even trying to play? You're like, why are you working so hard? What's the point of it? What's the end game with it? No one ever believes me that when I say when you hit $1 million business, nothing changes emotionally for you. I mean, you're proud of it. It's cool. But people are almost always disappointed when they hit it because we build it up to be this thing that it's not, right? So then what happens is you'll have a season where you're kind of stuck mentally, and then you'll say 10 million or 3 million, and then you'll get all excited. And then when you hit that, it does nothing but disappoint again, because none of these goals actually serve or satisfy you like you think they will. And what I've learned by working with 1,000 people over many years is that the relationship you have with your wife is what matters. The way your kids honor, respect you, and want to be around you when they're adults is what matters. The way that you pour into and kind of die for a cause bigger than yourself, whatever your purpose, or I say your mission, your mandate, your purpose, your destiny, like, this is the stuff that actually matters. And we get so hung up on these business goals that we wind up chasing the wind, and you can't catch the wind, right? So clarity of purpose, clarity of, I don't want to say your why, because I just think that's such a cheesy way to look at it, but like, what is your purpose? What is it? People say, I don't know my purpose. And I say, well, then your purpose is to find your purpose. Like, that's your purpose. Why are you here? You're going to die. 10 out of 10 people die, including you. If you eat healthy your whole life, did you know you're still going to die? If you exercise every day, you know you're still going to die. It's coming. I forget who said it, but one of the quotes I love is, a wise man thinks of death often. And it's not to be negative and morbid. It's because it's really true, and it helps guide your decisions a little bit more clearly in the minute by minute daily life, right? So clarity is a superpower. When you talk to Tommy on Monday, you'll notice he has confidence, he has massive consistency, and he has absolute clarity on exactly what he's trying to build. Okay, I want you to pay attention to this when you meet these people. They all have abnormal amounts of these things that I'm describing to you. They know what they're doing, why it matters, how long it's going to take, what plan B is, what plan C is, and what they're going to do. Like, they figured it out in their brain. They know why it matters. They're willing to trade their life for it, and they're running. They are running with blinders on towards this thing. And it's not just a dollar number. It's usually some sort of grand vision that involves lots of other people. Like, for my life goal is to give away 100 million to widows and orphans and bug eaters, which that because we're friends. Every business move I make is trying to directionally point me towards that outcome. Like if it moves me further away from giving 100 million away to widows and orphans, I don't want to do it. If it moves me closer to being able to do that, then I'm willing to sacrifice and suffer for it and to do it. If it moves me closer, right? And then the last C is community, and pretty self-explanatory, but a lot of small companies need to upgrade their friends group, truly. And this is not like a you're better than them thing. It's just a limiter for you. And like, I remember the neighborhood, Ashley and I, my wife and I bought our first house. Everyone thought we were like killing it. You know, we had this little cleaning business. I think it was doing like 40, 50,000 a month when we bought that house. And they're like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. You have 2 trucks. Oh my gosh. You know, and it has this effect on you to like convince you that like you did it or something. But when you up level the people you're around, you realize like you didn't even start yet. And for me, at least, who wants to do these big things, like I need to be around big thinking people. And I don't particularly love small talk. I want to be around visionaries. I don't care if they fall on their face 10 times. I don't care if they fail. I want people that aren't embarrassed to have big ideas. If your dreams don't make you want to throw up, you need to push yourself a little bit more. You should be embarrassed to tell people your dreams. And by the way, don't tell anybody your dreams until you're confident in them. Keep them like private. They're sacred. The Bible says don't cast your pearls before swine. And really what that can mean is like, you don't share all your big vision and stuff with all these people around you because they're just going to shit on them. They're going to poo-poo all of that stuff. And they're going to try to pull you down. They're going to say, oh, isn't there more to life than just work? Why do you work so hard? Why don't you get a real job? You ever have people say that to you? Here's the thing. They're not saying it because they don't want you to be big. They're saying it because of how you're making them feel small because you're thinking big. And you got to politely escape those relationships and find ways to get in different rooms. You know, the quality of a room is directly proportionate to the people in that room. That's why events like this are powerful because it costs lots of money to be here, not just to fly here and to come to this resort. You have to pay a whole bunch of money to be allowed to come here, right? But they're all doing big things, making big moves. And so it starts to feel normal to think big. And what used to feel big becomes normal, right? And you keep up leveling the room, right? So those are the success derivatives.
Confidence, consistency, clarity, community.
Yeah, if you have those, money happens. Right? Can you see it? Like Keith, let me just ask you, if you had 100% more confidence and certainty than you have now, and you're more consistent than you are now, and you had more razor sharp pinpoint 4K night vision clarity than you have now, right? And the only people pouring into you and speaking life into you were people ahead of you that were thinking even bigger than you were. If all those things were true over a time horizon, do you make less money or more money with that criteria?
Lots more money.
Lots more. That's right. Because money is the byproduct of that stuff. It's the sawdust of those 4 things.
Just letting it sink into the dome. You ever like you get super inspired, like listening to you talk, and then for a moment, the chasm splits and opens, and it's like, oh, and you start to believe in a higher vision so strongly that it becomes real inside of you, and you're in it like heaven inside of you. And you're like, this is it. This is what I've been waiting for. It's like a huge epiphany. And then all of a sudden, like you get sucked back into your current shape or frame, and then it goes away. But you had like 7 seconds of true, undeniable belief in everything you've ever dreamed of, that it actually can happen for you for real. When it opens up and the light shines in, but then it closes again like a genie in a lamp. How do you keep that fucker open and like stick your foot in the door so like you can start making massive traction in that higher dream, not just the habitual fears and things that you do every day, like do more of the stuff that barely works. Like, do you get what I'm talking about? Like, is it deep immersive deep dives, like stuff that you're doing, mastermind groups? Is it joining higher level workshops regularly and getting around bigger thinkers? Like, do you get what I'm talking about, right?
I think probably like if I was to reorder those 4 things we just talked about, the one that I guess would go at the top would be clarity.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have like if you figure out the thing you're willing to die for, that's the thing that pulls you through the hard Tuesday, right? That's the thing that makes you keep going, even though you feel nothing. Because we certainly don't feel motivated all the time. Motivation is very fleeting; it comes and goes. So like, why would you get out of bed when you don't want to at all? Well, it's because of the clarity of purpose, definitiveness of purpose. Or Napoleon Hill says, chief definite aim. That's what he says, chief definite aim. So like, when you know what that is, you just do it because it's not about you. It's not about you. You become a slave.
Yeah, your purpose doesn't change just because your feelings change day to day. The purpose is the purpose.
Exactly. And it's not
emotions. Okay.
It's about your purpose. Like if I have to do it because if I believe literally in my heart that like that's my function on this planet. There's more than just the widows and orphans. That's a core chief definite aim of mine, that I will do something I don't want to do to make sure that happens. Because why would I want to die not having done the whole reason I was made in the first place? And so being a good father and being like, there's lots of things, but it's those things that are external to you that make it easier for you to do. And look, I still don't do it oftentimes, I'll just feel sorry for myself and be totally unproductive and useless for 2 days in a row. I mean, it's normal. You're a human. But a lot of people don't even have that purpose, or the purpose is only a money target, and it doesn't feel the same. It doesn't create as much fire, because you'll hit it, feel nothing, hit the next one, feel nothing, hit the next one, feel nothing. And most of us have already experienced this, right? We know what it's like to have $0 and how it feels pretty great to have $1,000. And then we know how hard it felt to have $10,000. And then the minute that was true and you had $10,000 is pretty awesome, but only for a minute. And then you're empty again. And so the numbers change, but the feeling, it never actually gives you what you think it will. But moving towards your purpose is the most rewarding thing you can do, because that's why you're here. You're supposed to do that. At least I believe that. I'm a little crazy.
I know I've been able to make more money over the past couple of years and that I've always wanted to make, and I've surprised myself of what I invest the money in, because when I was younger I thought I would go get that badass Cadillac that I always wanted, or stuff like that, or get a crazy watch. And now I find myself investing money into my education and into my business more, and because that's like a conscious choice, step by step. I could get this thing now that depreciates and it's cool for 5 minutes, or I can invest in this. That it's like you're planting more seeds. It's like at what point, I guess you have to decide what truly makes you incredibly happy and fulfilled. For you, you're a sponge and you love to learn. Why are you at this mastermind event spending all this money? Is it for the longer term payoff, or do you just love learning and being around these people? Like, can you get more clarity on, or define what was the clarity for you? Because I've watched you in your own growth. You're just like, it seems a hockey stick, and not just like outwardly. I don't see you driving like a, I don't know, fucking Lamborghini and all this stuff, but your knowledge and your ability to portray your message in a way that it impacts people, that's an entire form of success and wealth in and of itself, to affect other people in a positive way. What is that clarity for you? I know that was a complex question, but.
Well, it's funny. Alvin Chica Lawn Care just asked a question that it was literally what I was just about to talk about. I'm actually an extreme introvert. It's funny because people don't think I am, because I get very like animated when I talk about this, because I'm passionate about it. I like care a lot. We've been bankrupt. We've lost everything. Like everything I have is because I bought a squeegee 20 years ago. And like, I am not too big for my britches. Let me tell you, like the Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away, right? I don't have all the answers. I never have thought I have all the answers. In fact, Aristotle said the only thing I know is that I know nothing. And I feel more like that the smarter I get. Because if you think you figured it out, you're definitionally stupid. The smarter people actually know that they don't know anything relative to everything there is to know. So anyway, I come to these events for connections and networking, for belief charges, right? To recharge my belief, right? And what's possible, to think bigger, to get challenged, but also networking and business opportunities. So, people, it's really hard to get a bigger actual return on investment than investing directly into your brain. It's really hard, or your business, right? So if you put money in the stock market and you get an 8% return, I think that's the average since 1930 or something, like for the S&P, 8 or 12% or something. But you could spend $25,000 on specific knowledge that turns into $250,000 in 1 year, right? So that's like an outsized exponential return. And so there's not a lot of things that you can put your money into that brings your money back with friends faster than your own mindset, skill sets, and network. I mean, these are the 3 pillars of the stool that we're trying to build, right?
Wait, say, what are the 3 pillars again? I write this down.
Mindsets, skill sets, and network. And I heard someone at one of my events a couple weeks ago, they said, you've heard people say it's not what you know, it's who you know, right? Mm-hmm. It's not really true, right? Because it is what you know. Those are your skill sets. But it's also not who you know. It's really who knows you, okay? It's who knows you. You can be like, oh, yeah, I know him, but he doesn't know you, so it means nothing. So the reason you invest into relationships like this is because in the long run, really good things happen. I don't have an agenda for any of my friends down at this event, right? But there's going to be $5 million deals we do together 3 years from now that I don't even know what it is, right? So I invest in the relationship. I invest in the time when we can, because they're busy and I'm busy, and we come together and we talk about family and we talk about whatever. But it's so valuable. Even for a small local company, you've heard customer acquisition costs, right? How many dollars can you spend to get a customer, right? How come no one thinks about influencer acquisition costs, right? How many dollars would you spend to have the right relationship that could lead to 30 customers, right? If you spend $100 to get one customer, would you spend $3,000 on a relationship that could lead to 30 customers? Well, you should, because even locally, your network is your net worth. Elvin said, say that again. Maybe you said, maybe they're talking about mindset, skill sets, and network, maybe. No.
Bro, you just said influencer acquisition cost.
Yeah, think of it, or relationship acquisition cost. We're so cheap with money. People that are high achievers, they let money flow out and it comes back. Money replenishes. It's coming and going all the time. When you only let a little bit out, only a little bit can come in. If your palm's always closed, how can stuff come into your palm? You got to let it go. You got to let it go. Bless people. Be a blessing. Invest in your brain. Think bigger. Have the faith and step out in faith and go for it. Like you let it happen and it starts coming. And it's bumpy and it's super scary sometimes, but it just works because that's everything God made. He designed to grow and expand. Everything.
Hey, real quick, I have no plans on these live. I've been going live a lot and having a lot of people on my show on the Untrapped podcast. It comes out after we go live on video, but then it's coming out on the Untrapped podcast on Apple and Spotify as well. So thousands and thousands of people are going to listen to this. And I don't have any plans of pitching or selling anything. And it's like, I actually had a guest on like a week ago. And at the end of the our live chat, he started transitioning into like a pitch to help me. Keith, what about your marketing course for sale? And I was like, that like wasn't my plan. So I was like, yeah, you can just go check out. So it's like, I don't know. I joined your War Plant Insiders thing, and I'm not trying to pitch anybody anything, but anybody here who's listening to him talking what he's talking about, I was in the Facebook group and you're dropping all these knowledge bombs for free. And it was like, I'm taking all the notes, and then I joined your group, and it was like getting fed with a fire hose. Not that you were giving out too much information. It's the quality of the information is so good that I had to slow down and I digest it. So I got way behind in the group. And it's because the stuff that you were teaching is stuff that I'm still digesting and learning and implementing. It's like, it's almost alien to me when it comes to entrepreneurship, like the ways you're talking right now, because it takes an identity upgrade. It takes you like accepting the fact that the things that you know and that you've learned and that you've experienced and heard from other people are only a version of the truth. Like you said, your business already has systems that could just be crappy systems. Like,
Yeah.
and so it's like the different stages of grief you have to realize. And I want to be respectful of your time. That's why I'm doing this, because we've been on about an hour. But the stages of grief are like, you're in shock, then you're in denial, and then you come into acceptance, like, oh my God, this entire reality that I think is real, or the way I'm running my business, there could be a whole higher way, but I have to accept that. So anyways, Warplan Insiders is mind-blowing. Can you talk about that for a minute in case anybody wants to learn more?
No one wants to hear about that. But Motorcycle is Life said Keith doesn't realize how far ahead he is. I agree with Motorcycle is Life, if you want to throw that up there. Like, you are a poster child, Keith, of actually Dunning-Kruger, which is this psychological concept that smart people tend to underestimate their abilities. Dumb people tend, on average, not always, but on average, tend to overestimate their abilities. We all know people at the family reunion that are like, hey, they think they know everything, but they're like the biggest idiot out of everybody, right? They have lots of opinions for your business. Hey, Keith, you know what you should do? Yeah, you got to do. And they say it with this confidence, even though they don't know what they're talking about. That's Dunning-Kruger effect on the low end. What you are on the Dunning-Kruger scale is the super smart, introspective person that super over engineers and analyzes things to your own detriment on accident, because you know that any program you make will not be perfect. You can't even get it made, right? Or it takes you 10 times longer than it should, or you market it quieter than you should because you're like, the truth is going to be found out. They're going to find out I don't actually know everything. Well, of course, nobody knows everything, right? And because you're so smart, you actually cut your own legs out a little bit, and you've gotten way better. But like, it's so evident the depth of knowledge that you have and your passion, how much you love these people. And for everybody watching this, Keith's my actual friend. We talk on the phone and about nerdy stuff. He loves helping people. Like, he's had people not commit suicide, write him letters, and he'll message me and call me and text me, and he's like, man, I can't believe this. I can believe it because I know who you are. Everyone else can see it, and you're not seeing what you actually are. It's not clear to you, and that's Dunning-Kruger. You're the chronic overthinker because you're a very intelligent guy. So,
did you say Dunning-Kruger?
Dunning-Kruger effect. Dunning, Dunning, Kruger effect. Just kind of watch some videos on it. It's fascinating because people that procrastinate a lot oftentimes are the smartest people. People that are insecure also oftentimes are the smartest people because they are aware that they suck at lots of stuff. Dumb people don't think about how much they suck at stuff. Okay. When you know your own inadequacies, it's hard for you to you feel like you're going to get found out or something. Right. So those are my thoughts. Warplan Insiders, people will be seeing that in the next month or so, because we're going to be spending all kinds of money on ads, promoting it and stuff. So I'm not worried about that at all. I want everybody that hears this, has a small company or feels stuck, to keep going, be stubborn enough to not stop, hammer the nail all the way into the board. Don't believe the lie that the $1 million business will change your life, but finish what you started before you get distracted by the next shiny, sexy object. But when your business is kind of working, don't feel bad by exploring other types of vehicles, other business opportunities, getting into the information business, affiliate marketing. There's so many opportunities with artificial intelligence. There's so many opportunities with software. You know how hard it was to build software in 2010 and 11 when I first started spending money on it compared to now? It's not even close to the same thing. There's so much opportunity. And if you can increase your confidence, your consistency, your clarity in your community. If you don't believe in yourself, why should anybody else? But if you believe in yourself just enough to focus on those 4 things, impossibly good things are going to happen to you. I come from nothing. I don't have a trust fund. I lived in a trailer park. I was a pizza delivery guy at a 2.6 GPA. I was the quarterback of our high school football team, but we even sucked at that. We lost our homecoming 69-0. We sucked at football. There was no reason for me to succeed at anything. And I've been on the brink of divorce. I've had cars repossessed. I've been bankrupt. I've had massive pain and suffering. It's not a joke. It really actually sucks. And but who cares? Who cares? I had T-shirts made for my kids that say it doesn't matter how hard it is. It only matters if it's worth it. That's why, if you can figure out what you're supposed to trade your life for, your chief definite aim, your primary objective, your success criteria, your purpose, your mission, your mandate, your purpose, your destiny. If you can get clarity on that thing, who cares how hard it is? Because you will get there. And just get rid of the relationships with people that think you're nuts for believing that. And you will go so fast. It can happen so freaking fast. Your life can change really fast. One epiphany, one relationship, one idea, pushing a little harder, living outside your comfort zone a little bit more often. Things can go boom, 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 boom. I've helped create over 100 millionaires that were just as dumb and full of bad ideas as I was.
Full of bad ideas.
Like talking about this stuff. Like, you can do it. And my closing quote before I hop off is to remember this. There's a lot of people dumber than you that already have what you want. Like, if that doesn't, because it's true. Whoever's listening, you're thinking of someone right now. You're like, yeah, that's true. That guy's an idiot. Why has he got the 17 bass boats? Bull crap, right? You can have the hot tubs and the bass boats. Trust me. And it's not because your mommy and daddy had money or that you went to Yale. Like, that's all dumb. In a lot of ways, those things are disadvantages. So that's it. Go crush it. High five.
Boom. Everybody, that's Joshua Latimer. Look him up. You find him.
Yeah, just
all of the world universe.
Facebook. Friend me on Facebook, and
you got what's your YouTube channel? You're making all these jokes.
Start a YouTube channel. I have dozens of followers. It's a magical experience. But it's just my name, Joshua Latimer.
Joshua Latimer. All right, sweet. Thanks, Josh.
Thank you. We'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for being on the show. Peace.